Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know that he holds my future. My life is worth the living just because he lives. Now, I'm not going to sing no more of that right now, because I like to sing songs that are perfected in my soul. So I'm going to work on that a little while. But in the meantime, my brothers and sisters, we are here today to hear. We learned on Rev Shabbat that there's a famine that has come in the land, not for the word, but for the hearing of the word. Everybody don't want to hear the word, and I'm going to talk to you a little while today, and Brother Gray, I want him to be ready in case I need some long reading. I'm just doing what the Father told me to do. But the question today is, what is your complex? What is your complex? Do you have an inferiority complex, or do you have a superiority complex? Or is it possible to have both? Well, I'm going to read to you, so I told you it's going to take a little time today, but we need to understand this because it's a message that the Father is trying to convey to us. There are symptoms of inferiority complex. Those symptoms are social withdrawal. When you feel inferior, you withdraw yourself. You don't even consider yourself to be worthy of being with other people. Then you have a demeaning of others when you're inferior. You try to bring everybody down to your level of inferiority. Or you'll blame the universe for what your failures are. Or you'll look like you ate a whole pound of sour grapes. Then you become extremely sensitive to everything that's said around you or about you. You do not respond to light humor too well. Also, even if you happen to make a passing comment, they may take it personally. You know, if you just make a comment, they're going to say, you talked about me. Because they're already inferior, feeling inferior. They seek attention. They need attention. They also tend to resort to other attention-seeking tactics such as aggression, pretending to be sick, appearing depressed, unhappy, and the like. And the last one is fear of making mistakes. Because if you feel that inferior, you look worse when you make a mistake. So you fear making mistakes. You want everything to be perfect before you do it. For instance, if I had the inferiority complex, I never would have started that song because I didn't know it. All right? Now, on the other hand, we have the superiority complex, and that involves haughtiness. This is the first trait of a person with superiority complex because they have this quality of being arrogantly superior and disdainful. They tend to find others below their imaginary level. They are always right. You are always wrong. They have a lack of empathy when they feel superior. They don't feel nobody else's pain. They don't feel the problems of nobody else. People who have this complex end up being cold-hearted. For them, it's difficult to even consider others as a faraway thing. Then you have one that they have a tendency to brag. You will always find them bragging about something or about themselves or the things they own. They're the people who won't always think beyond things and brag about it all. You can tell them because they're always interrupting something. They're big time interrupters, and they think it is always their right to get into a conversation. They understand the subject, whether they understand the subject or not. It doesn't matter. They will always have an opinion. Superiority people are filled with anxiety. People with this disorder develop anxiety issues with various things. It is always a conflict between their true self and the projected image that they show. And they get anxiety about that. They keep juggling with emotions, overthinking and making judgments. Then the last one for that one is they go through a lot of mood swings. With so much problems, issues, and overthinking, they end up exaggerating each and every experience. All these infinite thoughts give them intense mood swing problem as they keep on juggling with emotions and overthinking and judgment calls. I know none of us don't fit either one of them, right? Right. As we sit here, if we're honest, somebody ought to say guilty. You see, because whether you know it or not, we have been given both of those, which is inferiority and superiority. But because of the way we handle it, we make both of them bad rather than making both of them good. Because we need to feel inferiority sometimes. And we're going to talk about some of those things right now. And this might not be a long message because the Father touched me so deeply with it. I've been crying this morning already. You know, and some people don't worry about what the Father says as long as it sounds good to them or makes them feel good. But when that word comes to you and it makes you wake up to your good and your bad, then the word begins to do you some good. Let's go to Bereshit chapter 19. That's the book of Genesis, chapter 19. And if I go kind of fast, just write the scripture down, and then you can buy the tape for $19.95. Of course, you know that's a joke. Genesis 19:19. He said, "Look, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your judgment, which you have shown me by saving my life. But what? But I am unable to escape to the mountains, lest calamity overtake me and I die." Now, this brother was showing inferiority. His name is Lot. The father then spared him, his two daughters. His wife looked back, therefore she was not spared. But the father took him from a place that was in the process of destruction. But now he is showing inferiority by saying, "Save me, lest I die." If the Father wanted you to die, he would have never brought you out of that place. Isn't that right? So sometimes your inferiority complexes will cause you to feel these judgments upon you when they're not on you. The Father sent Malachim to you when you was out there in the world, and we didn't know it then. But he protected us while we was in our mess. Oh, somebody ought to say yes on that one. He took care of us in our drunkenness. When we were doing drugs and whoredoms and all of the other bad things the individual could do, we were doing them, but guess what? He spared us. And now we are acting as though we are afraid that he's going to let us die. Why would he bring you this far just to let you die? See, when we should be feeling superiority, we are feeling inferiority. We have a complex about opening our mouths because we scared somebody gonna knock us down or somebody gonna talk bad about us. You remember the times when we was out there in the world with that superiority in our wrong? We said whatever came to our mind. Wasn't afraid of nobody. We felt like we were invincible. Numbers 22:18, Balaam was answering Balak because Balak wanted him to curse Yah's people. Y'all remember that, right? And at that point, I'm sure the brother felt like he could do anything because he felt superiority. But I want you to notice this man right here. Look what he says. Verse number 18, he says, though Balak were to give me his house, y'all see that? Filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yah, to do less or do more. Now what he's saying is, oh yeah, I'm a bad boy out here. That's why everybody coming to me. But what you coming to me with, you want me to go against the superior, and even though I'm superior to you, I'm inferior to him. And I can't go beyond his word. Whatever he told me to do, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever he said not to do, that's what I'm not going to do. So I'm inferior to Almighty Yah. Do we have anybody else in here inferior? Because sometimes we get so superior until we think we can tell Yah what to do. We try to explain his heart and don't even know your own. Isn't that right? And then we go over here to Yahushua, he said in chapter 7, verse number 13, he says, rise up, set the people apart. And you will say, set yourselves apart for tomorrow. Why? Because thus said Yah Elohim of Israel, that which is under the ban or that which is cursed is in your midst. O Israel, you are not able to stand before your enemies until you put away that which is under the ban or that cursed thing from being there in the midst of you. You got to get rid of that thing if you expect Yah to be with you. Now listen, who is he talking to? He is talking to a superior people. Even though they're the smallest people on the planet, they are still superior to every nation around them. Nobody couldn't defeat them. Nobody couldn't hurt them, tear them down. Nobody couldn't do anything to them unless the Father gave them permission. They were superior. Our problem is that we don't see our superiority in the right light. We think we're superior because we know scripture, or because we preach good, or because we sing good, or because we play music good, but that does not make you superior. The only thing that makes us superior is that he got his hand on us. I don't know about y'all, but I feel good knowing that. Because I want us to be able to stand in front of our enemies and defeat them with our superiority. Satan is known to be smart, cunning. Isn't that right? He is filled with guile and subtlety. But we are more superior. Let me say that one more time. I didn't hear enough on that one. We are more superior than Satan himself. Why? Because we have the ultimate superiority in us. And I think I read Brother Gray where he said, he that is in me is greater. That means Satan can't